Do you learn so much? Okay, what's up? What am I doing?
Okay, Cameron was waiting for you but had another meeting. He said be back at 2. Everyone needs you to sign off on tomorrow's homepage.
Right.
And your 11 o'clock is in the big conference room, so is your 11:10. Finance needs you, and I guess you emailed a bunch of people at 4 a.m. about something?
Oh, good. I forgot about that. I want to figure out a way for friends to shop together online. Make it less of an alone thing. Email me that idea, will you?
Yeah, I like that. Is now a good time to call your mom back?
Dude, I want a bike. Oh, what a mess. This is the middle of the office. Don't put that.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. My name is Hanifa Shahira Freddy, and for today's presentation, I will presenting to you about professionalism. It is about team, meeting, listening, nonverbal, and etiquette skills. So here are my table of contents. There are 5. The first is about adding value to professional teams. Second is planning and participating in face-to-face and virtual meetings. The third is listening in the workplace. Fourth, communicating non-verbally. Fifth, developing professionalism and business etiquette skills. So this is about the adding value to professional teams. So in adding value of professional teams, we have 2 of the things that we're gonna learn. The first is about impressing digital age employers. There are 4 keys of area of impressing people. The first is about education. Second, experience. Third is hard skill, and fourth is soft skill. Bill Levin, the former CEO of Evernote, stated that the most important baseline skill for any position is communication, because communication is the key learning of people so they can obey the rules and also the organizational regulation. So this is the excelling in teams. There are some tips of excelling in teams. There are 6. The first is better decision. Second is faster response. Third is increased productivity. Fourth, less resistant to change. Fifth, greater buy-in. And 6, reduce in risk. So this is still in the content of subchapter 1.1. So this is the collaborating in virtual teams. So collaborating can be means that you working with your teammates. It can be from this city or other countries. And in virtual teams, it means that you collaborating virtually without no physical evidence. It can go by Zoom, it can go by Google Meeting, or even it can go by Skype. So beside that, there are 4 phases of team development. There are forming, storming, norming, and performing. In forming, it means that you select a member and become acquainted to them. You build trust with the new people or new member that you want to be a team with. The second is storming. In storming, we can identify problems together. We can collect and share as many as information to make a decision criteria. And then it comes to norming. In norming, we can discussing about all of the alternative and evaluate what kind of outcome that we can get if we do such a planning on that kind of criteria. And the fourth is performing. So in performing, you can select an alternative and you can analyze what kind of effect that will gonna happen if you go with one way. And the next is about identifying positive and negative team behavior. So you can see from the picture here that I give in my presentation, you can idealize about what kind of thing that is positive and what kind of thing that is negative. So in positive, it can be like setting rules, analyzing tasks, contributing, showing interest, and encouraging members. But negative is more to like a negative behavior, like blocking, insulting, wasting, and making improper jokes, which is really rude for you to be in team behavior like that. And the next is about combating groupthink. So we can understand that there are a lot of conflict in team and it is normal. And because of that, to be an effective team, you can settle up it by using the skill you master. And you can smoothing things up, you can smoothing all of the conflict by leading a group thing. So group thing, it likes brainstorming together to get the best solution or idea to solve a kind of problem. This is about reaching group decision and defining successful team. So in reaching group decision, there are 5 of the things. The first is about majority. So in majority, it's like the bigger votes that you got for selecting something. The second is about consensus. So in consensus, you're discussing a lot of things and you express your opinion about something until all the people agree with your opinion. And the third is minority. So in minority, we can take an example about subcommittees that investigate and suggest an action. The fourth is averaging. So in averaging, it means that members haggle, bargain, whittle, and negotiate to obtain a middle position, which typically necessitates compromise. And the fifth is about authority rule with discussion. We understand clearly that manager, supervisor, and leader, they can listen to team members' suggestion to other people's opinion, but still they are the one who make a group decision or the final choices. So for the next, it's about defining successful teams. So many people don't really understand what is successful team and how to define successful team. So here I'm going to show you what is the type of successful team. The first, they are stay small and embrace diversity. Successful teams love diversity of the workplace because by that they understand that they can learn about a lot of insight with a different culture, that it can give them a lot of new idea about what kind of strategic idea that can they put in terms of discussing on something. The second is agree on purpose. The third is establishing a procedures. The fourth is comfort conflict because they like to avoid conflict and solve a conflict as soon as possible. And the fifth is communicate effectively. Like we all know that communication is the key point of an organization. And the sixth is collaborate rather than compete. They don't like compete, but they like to collaborate together in order to make a good team. And for the seven is share leaderships. So this is about the planning and participating in face-to-face and virtual meetings. The first thing that you need to do is making face-to-face meetings productive. What is called as productive? So productive means that everything go efficiently as something as desired as by the people. And the second is about determining the purpose of a meeting. There are 3 purposes of a meeting. The first that you need to do is select the participant. But participant define what the meeting are. If the participant of your meeting is only 5 people or fewer, it means as intensive problem solving. But if the participation is 10 people or fewer, it means like a problem identification. But if it is 30 people or fewer, it means like it is information reviews and presentation. If it is unlimited or so many people in the room or in Zoom meeting or something like that, it can go as motivational in virtual meetings. So the name of the meeting came from how many participants that you have. The purpose of the meeting itself. So the next about how to determine a purpose is to use digital calendar to schedule meetings. In digitalization right now, there are a lot of things to schedule meetings. The first, it can go by Google Calendar. The second, it can go by Apple Calendar. And the third, it can go by Outlook Calendar. And the third, to determining the purpose of the meeting, is distributing agenda and information. So the information can go by putting the date and place of a meeting, start time and end time, the brief discussion of each topic, and the fourth is the pre-meeting preparation. And for the third, in planning and participating in face-to-face and virtual meetings, is about managing the meeting. In managing in a meeting, there are 6 of the things that you can do as a good teamwork. The first is getting started. The second is establishing ground rules, because rules is important in order to make anyone go as one as demanded. The third is moving the meeting along, or the meeting goes as well as decided. And the fourth, participate actively so everyone can share their opinion or their thought about something. The fifth is handling conflict in meetings. The sixth is concluding and following up. So concluding is kind of giving you such a summaries regarding the case. And the fourth, in planning and participating, we have preparing for virtual meetings. So in preparing for virtual meetings, there are a lot of things that you can do. The first is select the most appropriate technology. So in technology, in virtual meetings, it can go by Zoom, Google Meetings, or even Skype, or even Microsoft Teams. So it depends on the person what kind of facility of technology that they want to use, and they need to use the appropriate and the comfortable one to make it easier for the people. And the second, they need to ensure that all the participants are able to use technology, because we know that there are a lot of older people that don't really understand about what technology can do for us and what to use technology, how to. Because of that, the team member need to ensure that all of the member understand using technology. The third is be aware of different time zones, because in virtual meeting, it means that a lot of people can go work from their house, can go work from cafe, and even can go work from their office. But we can conclude that not all of the people came from the same country, so it means that we are need to aware that sometimes there are different time zones between each people. The fourth is about decide what language to use, because all the people not come from the same country. Sometimes it's better to use English as the best languages, because almost all of the people understand English. The five is about explain how a question may be asked and answered. The sixth is don't multitask. Don't multitask means that you need to focus in the meeting. Don't do anything is not related to the meeting or the importance of the meeting. The next is humanize virtual meetings. So make it more realizable than like only the virtual, even that you didn't meet physically. And the seventh is manage turn taking. And the last, anticipate the limitation of virtual technologies. It can go the same as the number second, like we need to ensure all the participants are all able to use the technology. So this is the listening in the workplace. We clearly understand the value of listening, but some of the people have a bad listening habit. A lot of people been trained for reading, speaking, and writing, but no school taught you to listen to some people when they are talking. Because of that, poor listening habit sometimes came from the lack of training and lack of a good school that provides you with a good education of listening. The next is about types of workplace and listening. The first is about listening to supervisor, listening to colleagues and teammates, and listening to customer. Listening to supervisor and customer is a really different thing. When you listen to supervisor, sometimes it came as they give you such a regulation, or you need to obey and listen what kind of thing that the company needs for the future. But for listening to customer, you need to understand what is customer difficulty, and you need to use the appropriate language in order to customer to understand and to solve their problems. And the next, in the listening in the workplace, we have improving workplace listening. So in improving workplace listening, we can use it by learning to listen to other people when they are speaking. Because sometimes when you speak, when other people is talking, it's so rude and it's not appropriate. Because of that, I give you a list about trained listener and untrained listener. So, and how to define trained listener and untrained. In untrained, sometimes people tend to listen to mainly for facts and specific bits of information. But for a trained listener, they are listening completely, and they are trying to understand every nuisance. So for the next is about keys to building powerful listening skills. The first is about control external and internal distraction. The second, become actively involved. The third, separate facts from opinion. The fourth, identify important facts. The fifth, avoid interrupting. And the sixth, ask clarifying questions. So this is about communicating non-verbally. So many people wonder, what is communicating non-verbally? So communicating non-verbally is more like a communication that is all unwritten and unsaid message. So communicating non-verbally can be done by body message. The first is like giving an eye contact to other people. The second, if you can give a facial expression like smiling, or sometimes when the people don't like any idea, they're looking like a grumpy person. And the third is posture and gesture. And next is about time, space, territories, and send silent messages. For the time management refers about personality and attitude of someone. Have you ever heard about that it is rude for people to give a message during a weekend, because sometimes people consider it as rude because weekend is a time they need to spend with their family. And the second, I'm going to tell you about territory. Territory is like the space that we consider as the space that we are comfortable for. It can be office, it can be house, or it can be any cafe nearby. And the third is about the space. The space is about how we organize our environment and reveals our goal and personality. In space, we can divide it into 4 parts. The first is intimate zone, which is 1 to 1.5 feet. The second is personal zone, 1 to 4 feet. And the third is social zone, 4 to 12 feet. And the fourth is public zone, 12 or more feet. So the next is about appearance and silent message. It can be eye appeal or business comment, and it can also be personal appearance. So the next I want to explain is about developing professionalism and business etiquette skills. So the first that we need to understand is about professionalism and the cost of incivility. You can see from the picture right here, I divided into professional and unprofessional. We can take an example of speech habit. So unprofessional people will like to use slang, poor grammar, and profanity. But for professional people, they are likely to show their credibility that they are educated and they understand about a lot of professional speech. And the next is about email. Unprofessional people will likely to use I am slang, mindless chatter, and also sloppy message signal. But it is a different case with the professional people. Professional people will likely to see subject, verbs, and punctual marks. And the next about professionalism is gaining an etiquette edge in the network world. So I'm going to show you about the 6 dimension of personal behavior. The first is about appearance appeal. So appearance appeal is about how you look like in front of other people's eyes. It can be dining etiquette, attractive business attire, and also good hygiene and grooming. And the second is for the tolerance tag. So the tolerance tag is explaining about the ability to compromise, fair treatment of other, and self-control. And for honesty ethics, it's discussing about truthfulness, respecting other, fair competition, and empathy. And the fourth is about reliability of diligence. We can look as dependability, honoring commitments, and keeping promises to one another. And the third is consistent performance. And the fifth is about collegiality sharing. It can be helpfulness, showing up prepared, delivering high quality of work. And the sixth is about courtesy respect. It can be promptness, giving and accepting criticism graciously, apologizing for errors, and sincerity. That's all for my presentation. I'm sorry if I made any mistake before. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.